What is up, you guys? Jury here, and welcome back to a new video. I just wanted to make sure that Easy Effects is working and that all of these effects are working fine, but I believe that it's working as it should be. So yeah, this video is going to be a bit different compared to my other videos that I usually make, where I have B-roll and all of these simple effects that I have to make the video a bit more interesting. This one will be a bit different, so it's going to be raw, uncut, unscripted. Yeah, so just wanted to let you know. But I might have only one exception. I might try to cut certain places where necessary, but for the most part, this video will be pretty much natural. So this topic will be about anti-cheat and the whole situation about it, not only on Linux but for Windows, as this topic has been in my head for the past couple of days, and this is something that I've always wanted to share my thoughts on. To start with, I think it's best for us to understand what an anti-cheat is. So an anti-cheat is pretty much, or to simplify it, is a software that's designed to prevent or detect cheating in online games. So most multiplayer games have become popular. A lot of players are playing with other players around the world, and this gives a good experience, right? But this experience doesn't come with its bad experiences, as a lot of hackers are trying to hack the game to ruin the experience of others, and in some instances this will pretty much outright just prevent the player from not playing the game at all, because what's the point of playing a multiplayer game if you have cheats and hacks that pretty much ruin the experience? And if I was playing a game where I see so many hacks and so many cheats, obviously I wouldn't just continue to play the game, because what's the point of playing a game and wasting your time where you could be doing something else? So that's why anti-cheats have to exist, to prevent cheating and hacking and all that. So this is a good thing, right? Anti-cheats have to exist, but this is where I have problems with anti-cheat, specifically how intrusive they've become, and how kind of annoying it is to have anti-cheats. So multiplayer games at the time, when they were getting more and more popular, so was the hacking at the time. So when it comes to anti-cheats at the time, they were running at ring 3. So if you don't know what you're seeing, most programs ran, or most of them should run at ring 3 if you are using a Windows system, or if you're using any operating system. So ring 3 means that a program has less access to the system, and this ring here actually is safe, because sometimes it's not a good idea to give a lot of access to the system unless a certain program needs to. And this is where ring 1 and 2, these are the parts where some programs have some access to a system, and they have to do this device drivers. As you can see here, they need access to your hardware, and they just need access to your system at some degree so that they can function well, right? So at the time, most anti-cheats were at this ring. This means that they had less access to the system, and this is where a lot of the hacking was here too. So as the anti-cheats were keeping up with the hacking, a lot of hackers had no choice but to run at ring 2, and anti-cheats also had to keep up as well, because they weren't detecting the anti-cheats at this ring. So you can kind of see how this is pretty much going. The hacking was getting lower and lower, so was the anti-cheat getting lower and lower. So this is where like we have ring 0. So this is the ring where a software has full access to your system. And I don't think I have to explain what that means. That means that, it can pretty much control how your system behaves. It can see what you are doing in your system. Well, we don't really know like what a software does, but this ring pretty much means that it has full access and can do whatever it wants to do. And this is the ring where most anti-cheats are, and most hacking pretty much is, nowadays at least. So as I've already said, most anti-cheats run at the kernel level, meaning they have full access to your system, and some people even consider them as rootkits, because in a way they do run like rootkits in your system. So there are three problems that I have with kernel level anti-cheats. The first one is privacy concerns, since most of the kernel level anti-cheats run at the kernel level. The only problem is we really don't know what these kernel level anti-cheats do, other than its sole purpose is to detect and prevent hacking in the game. And I can understand why gamers, why some gamers would not want to install a kernel level anti-cheat, since if you're worried about your own privacy and personal information, then I think you should not install a game that comes with the kernel level anti-cheat. And the second issue, which is something I can relate to when it comes to kernel level anti-cheats, is system crashes. So there have been Reddit posts, forums that say that these kernel level anti-cheats, although not all of them, can cause system crashes. So if you take a look at League of Legends, which I'm pretty sure they updated their anti-cheat to Vanguard, I believe, a lot of people, not a lot, but from what I've seen on the internet, a lot of people complain that this new kernel level anti-cheat has caused system crashes and all that, which is really hard to provide evidence, because we really don't know if it causes system crashes, although there were people who were able to find ways to fix it by just simply restarting the system if they wanted to play League of Legends. And but I'm sure there are plenty of examples I can give of, but it just shows that some kernel level anti-cheats can cause system crashes, and it can be really annoying to have them if you just want to play a multiplayer game. Perhaps one of the biggest concerns when it comes to kernel level anti-cheats are security concerns. So I thought that there's no way that a hacker can use a kernel level anti-cheat to use it for very nefarious purposes, but that's where I was wrong, and I think a lot of people thought so, but that was not the case. So if we take a look at Genshin Impact, for example, one of my favorite games, Genshin Impact's anti-cheat system, specifically the MHYprot2.system, is a driver that has been exploited by hackers to disable antivirus software, which opens the door for ransomware attacks. This driver, originally designed to prevent cheating, allows hackers to bypass system privileges and terminate security software. Alarming is that this vulnerability doesn't require Genshin Impact to be installed on a device, making it easier for hackers to spread malware across systems. So basically, this anti-cheat ran 24 hours on your system. This means that if you're playing the game and you decided to close it, the anti-cheat would still run on your system. And this raised a lot of security concerns, and that's where this vulnerability. That's where like a lot of security researchers found out that it had this severe vulnerability for ransomware attacks, and yeah, that's where the major chaos happened. So the company that made Genshin Impact had already fixed this issue. So a popular game, which is Valorant, also has Vanguard pretty much installed. And what makes this kernel level anti-cheat so intrusive, but at the same time interesting, is, well, one, this kernel level anti-cheat is different from other kernel level anti-cheats, in a sense that if we take a look at something like Easy anti-cheat, Ricochet, and BattleEye, these anti-cheats only run, so like from my understanding, they only run when you play the game, which it's pretty much fine for most people, right? They don't like want a rootkit running 24 hours. So this is fine, and there were no issues. Vanguard, on the other hand, requires, or specifically runs 24 hours on your system. This means that if you're playing the game, or in fact, this means that if you turn on the system, it will start running like when your system, like when your PC boots up. When you want to play the game, the anti-cheat is also running. But if you are not playing the game, or if you decide to do something else in your system, the anti-cheat is still running on your system. That's how intrusive Vanguard is. The fact that you are not playing the game, or you're doing something else, the anti-cheat still runs 24 hours on your system. Now, there is a reason why Vanguard is designed to run this way. You can correct me in the comments, but from my understanding, and to oversimplify it, Vanguard gathers your PC information. So like it gathers your specs, what graphics you're running, what CPU, and all that. So this information is called a hardware ID. So like if you try to cheat on Valorant or League of Legends, since they use the same anti-cheat, not only does your account get banned, but since the anti-cheat gathered your hardware ID, so like where it has all of the information about your system, that is also banned. So that means creating an account will not be enough on the same system, because the anti-cheat knows that this is the hardware that was being used to to cheat the game. So this basically means that in order to play Valorant or to play League of Legends, you need to pretty much get either a pre-built PC, or you need to build a PC from scratch. So this is what makes Vanguard a bit more intrusive to other kernel level anti-cheats. These are the biggest problems that I have with kernel level anti-cheats, and I'm pretty sure these are like the problems that a lot of people can relate to when it comes to kernel level anti-cheats. But this is only part of the reason that made me want to make this video. Let's talk about Linux in general when it comes to kernel level anti-cheat support for it. Now, I do understand that Linux still has a low market share, and gaming companies don't want to put the money into it, especially if they know that they're not going to get if they're not going to get anything out of it like long term, which is something I understand. But at the same time, I think one of the reasons why they don't want to opt support for Linux is the fact that they think that most of the cheating is on Linux, when it really doesn't make any sense. while Linux is a customizable operating system, that doesn't mean that a lot of the cheating often takes place on that operating system. Because if you take a look at Windows is the dominant or the de facto operating system for software, for gaming, for commercial purposes and all that. So most of the games are developed on Windows, most of the software is developed on Windows, and if people are going to play like popular games, they're obviously going to use Windows because it's what they know and it's what they're going to use, right? But a lot of people tend to forget that most of the hacking also takes place on Windows, because since Windows is a high market share, obviously hackers are going to make software for a specific game in order to make cheats and all that. So I don't understand why that gaming companies would think that Linux is that the hacking takes place on Linux, because while it is possible to run some hacking software on Linux, it doesn't change the fact that Linux still has a low market share, and I don't think a developer or someone who like develops hacking tools for a game would develop those games on Linux, because we are running compatibility tools in order to run Windows games on Linux, and it would probably take a lot of time to even develop a hacking software for a specific game. And it also doesn't change the fact that since gaming companies block support for Linux, it doesn't make sense for them to to think that the hacking is on Linux when in reality it's nearly impossible to hack on the game. So that's another thing that made me want to make this video, because it really just doesn't make sense for them to block support for certain multiplayer games. But I just think that you should just enable support for Linux. But time will tell when the market share will rise, because it's only the market share that is determining whether they want to opt support for it or not. So I think time will tell, and I think we'll see how this all goes in the long term. It has been proven time and time again that it is possible to play most multiplayer games on Linux that have kernel level anti-cheat support. So if you take a look at games like Rainbow Six Siege, if you take a look at GTA, if you take a look at Destiny, all of these are multiplayer games. The truth is that they can run on Linux, and thanks to Valve and Epic Games collaborating to make anti-cheat support on Linux, if it wasn't for them, I honestly think gaming on Linux, specifically playing multiplayer games, would be almost impossible without the anti-cheat support. So one of the reasons that made me want to make this video regarding Linux is that sometimes whenever we see gaming companies allowing Linux support, it's always a good thing. But whenever we see an update of a game that completely breaks Linux support, it's something that makes me really sad and disappointing. And I think some companies just do not want to support Linux, and that's fine. So if you take a look at GTA, which I think it had a new anti-cheat updated, which completely broke Linux support. A lot of people, or specifically a lot of Linux gamers, were really not happy about that, and they even contacted Rockstar about it, and Rockstar is like, no, we're not going to provide support on Linux, and they're going to provide the offline game for it, but they're not going to provide support, like the online support for it, which is kind of ridiculous since Rockstar decided to, completely banish Linux users. Whenever I say this, it just makes me sad and disappointed because a lot of companies tend to overlook that Linux has potential when it comes to gaming. And yeah, overall, I just think that when it comes to, like GTA, League of Legends, and other games that have completely broke Linux support for gaming, it's just disappointing, but time will tell when games will be fully supported on Linux. So yeah, this is pretty much the rant that I've wanted to make about, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, and more content will be coming out soon. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.